Hi guys, we are back with the part two of our cat podcast, and we again have Ankit with us. So, in this part, we'll be discussing various strategies and tips for the cat exam, and Ankit will be sharing some personal tips and tricks for us. So, let's start with that. Okay, so Ankit,
Hello,
what do you?
Gurjot.
Hi,
It's good to be
welcome
back.
back to the podcast. Yeah. So we know that for CAT, people start preparing from college only, and we know that as soon as we start, it is better for us. So, what do you think is the best time for a student to start preparing for CAT?
I think the best time would be when you are in your first year. Not aggressively prepare in the first year. You can do some questions and some topics here and there, right? You
Hmm.
should start aggressively in your second year,
Okay.
semester, because that you will have a year, and I think that much time is sufficient for the CAT. But in your first year, if you do some questions here and there, you will get familiar with the topics that are going and get comfortable with those. Right? Apart from
Yeah.
that, apart from the CAT exam, you should start preparing for the from the first year in the sense of start giving boost to your CV, right? Like doing internships and projects and all that stuff. You should start those things from the first year itself. You have a lot of time in your hand because the preparation is not that aggressive and the course is not that big in the first year. So you have a lot of time in your hand, and that's the best
Yeah.
time to collect those things of few
Okay.
activities.
All right.
Okay,
So,
so sorry
go
to
on.
interrupt you, Gojo there. So I just have a follow-up question here that joining societies will help in our interview and in extracurricular part of the
Yes,
MBA entrance examinations.
yeah, joining societies will help because that showed initiative skills and the leadership skills. And if you have organized
Mhm.
some events for the society, it shows that you are open to new things, right? That will help. Yeah.
So yeah, but basically, what procedure societies will follow that if you want any leadership position in the society, like if you want to be the part in the core team or you want to be the part of BOD, then you have to contribute in the society as a member for a year. So basically, if like I take an example, like if a person joined a society as a member and he work as a member for a year, and then
Yes.
because of CAT preparation he have to leave the society, right? Because continuing both
Not
the things
necessarily.
like Mhm.
It's not that difficult as you might appear so. Because I was the executive in my department in the second year, and I'm currently head of logistics in it. Difficult the
Great.
the major workload that you will be handling as a major role will be to handle people, work with the team.
Hmm.
Right.
The trivial tasks that you were doing in the first year will be passed down to the next batch that is coming up, right? You will be handling most of them that. So it's not
Hmm.
much task, it's more about giving your ideas to the team, which you
Hmm.
Right.
can always think in your free time.
Hmm. But yeah, you are definitely right in this.
I
But
really do not
suppose
suggest leaving societies
yeah,
for
what?
work. I do not
Mhm.
suggest leaving the societies because of CAT preparation. That also
Hmm.
because when you have acquired a particular role in the society, that you can handle some work, right? It shows that you can handle multitasking.
Okay. So, if a person is only a member in a particular society and he didn't get any leadership position till the end, so is it worth it to work as a
It's
member?
not that. And if the opportunity that you have in the society does not
Mhm.
let you grow, then you should leave it.
Okay,
Hmm.
sure.
You put 3 years of your time, and you still cannot grow in the society.
No, I'm talking just about only a year. That if I work in a society for a year as a member, then it worth it?
Yeah, yeah. It is worth it. You will not be promoted to a higher position a higher level in a year because the next batch will come after a year.
Yeah.
Right? So your
Okay.
roles will only get passed down. So that will get cleared up. So to get you right. But in the second year, if you still
Yeah.
cannot get a goal in the second year, if you still cannot get a role in the society, at least major than the previous one, then you should leave the society. Yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so you have experience, you know the work. Yeah, it gives you a lot of experience. Yeah, yeah, which can help. But if you can see, the experience part will help. But in the second year, you still get the same experience, right? If you cannot get promoted, experience you will do the yeah yeah. So it's better to diversify your experience in the than to just repeat the same experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah. All right. So I think we've discussed a lot about society. Then let's now just come
Yeah.
back to cat. And so, what do you think? What what do you think is the best way of preparing for CAT? Is it self-study or is it attending a coaching center, or what do you think is the best method?
I think it depends on the person, right?
Hmm.
If I could be persistent enough, then I would prefer the self-study mode because I know I can wrap down the books and stuff. I can read those
Hmm.
on my own.
Hmm.
The guy that you need a teacher, then you obviously need a coaching, or you need persistency in your classes, and you need a external push to get you on the desk.
Hmm.
It helps to be in the part of a coaching center to push.
Okay, so yeah, so
If you
you
feel
talked
like you can
about the.
prepare for it, if you feel like you can prepare it, then go for it. Try it in the first year itself.
Yeah.
Prepare a little in the last month, and see,
Mhm,
results will not be up to your expectation if you prepare only for a month, but you will
mhm,
know that it's if you can manage that period of a time or not.
yeah,
In the first year, it doesn't matter if you give a cat or not because ultimately you will get disqualified.
mhm, yeah. So you talked about persistence in by joining these coaching centers. So do you think apart from
Yeah,
persistence, there is also a lack of study material if if you're doing self-study and you're preparing on your own?
I
Also
don't think there is
needs.
any lack of study material.
Okay.
Lack of study because you can always get study material from here and there. Time
Mm-hmm.
study material, you can also buy that. It's not
Okay.
that hard to get. So the study material is not the major thing. Yeah, the mentors thing is a
Yeah.
plus. You can feel some to you can ask someone for help if you are.
And there is
I was
also
feeling
one
down
thing that.
during preparation a lot of time,
Yeah.
and I asked for help. That really helped, right? So that's a plus point.
Okay. Yeah, so and there is also one thing that during a preparation you come across a lot of doubts and you don't know some questions how to do them. So in coaching you have that advantage of asking your
Yeah, in coaching
teachers.
you have that
But
advantage.
in,
If you have a doubt, then you can
yeah,
ask them.
yeah.
But
So in self-study, is there like how
and
should
plus
one
in
go
self
about it?
study, you are also directionless. You really don't
Mm,
know how which chapter is important for in which to leave, right? And
yeah.
keep up, right? Keep going. That's really hard in self study. I feel that.
Mm, mhm.
Yeah, that's a plus point. But I had peers doing the same thing, but I got to know about them a little late in my preparation.
Because you
Well,
were
I got
preparing
that
online
one.
only.
Yeah, I was preparing online. That's the main reason. Because if I was doing offline, then I I would have known that they're also preparing for the same thing.
So, related to that only, you mentioned that since you were attending online classes for the coaching, so do you think it was easier for you to attend these online classes, or would you have preferred offline classes for CAT coaching?
I would have definitely preferred offline classes. Definitely, there's no
Yeah.
replacement for that because as I said, in offline classes there are a lot of excuses to not attend the online class, right?
Yeah.
And I did that. I made myself to bunk my class to
Mm.
actually I'm still doing those things, and I, to be honest, that I think like I will study today, but
Yeah.
the day goes on and I think that I will study from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Fixed routine. But if you need to go to some place, then you follow the routine.
Mm-hmm.
If suppose you go after 3 days, then there's a person who can ask you,
Right.
then why did you come 3 days in a row?
Right.
In
That
online
is,
classes,
yeah.
that is not the case. Also,
Mm-hmm.
there
Yeah.
is an interpersonal relationship with the teacher in offline classes.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
see them more often, and you can ask them whenever you want.
Mm. That is
But in
something that
online
is missing
classes,
in the online classes. Yeah.
yeah, that is something that is missing. You have to attend the class, and if you
Mhm.
still attend the online class, then you have to ask the topics related to that particular class, right? You cannot
Mhm.
ask it would be very weird to ask a probability question in a profit and loss class.
Yeah.
Something like you can ask after the class, because after the class the meeting ends.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
But
what
actually,
I
I
want
cannot
to,
hear your voice. Okay.
yeah,
Stick around. They stick around, but it would be very weird not to ask a probability question in profit and loss class. You are
Mhm.
thinking that you will ask probability question in the end, then you are overthinking that part. You're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that kind of thing
Mm.
stuff. Plus, it's harder to explain your questions in the online mode,
yeah,
That is also
especially
one
in
major problem.
quant section, especially in
hmm,
quant. Because in verbal, it's easy to explain your question doubt, but in
Mm.
quant, suppose you cannot type the geometric figure, right? And very few.
Mm. Very few.
And plus, in
yeah,
the Zoom meetings, they really do not allow you to unmute yourself whenever you want.
Oh.
In the chat box, but it sometimes gets lost in the conversation.
okay,
Right?
Mhm.
At the
hmm,
same time, 500 people are in the class. 500 people are typing something. And how will the mentor see what questions to answer very quickly?
right,
You, yeah, it is distracting for the teacher as well.
Mhm.
So it's harder to
All
explain
right.
the questions, harder to connect with the teacher in the
Mhm.
online mode, but it obviously saves you a lot of time of traveling and stuff.
Definitely.
right, right.
Yeah, I would
So
prefer that
my
for
question,
projects type working professional. I would prefer the online classes because they
Mhm.
really have a less time in their hands and they can do preparation better in online mode. They need time. But
Yeah.
for students, I would prefer the offline mode.
okay. So my question is related to the study material.
Yeah,
Basically, what I want to ask is uh, the participants and the applicants, the students who are preparing for CAT, uh, follow Arun Sharma books as they said that Arun Sharma books are the Bible for preparation of CAT. and some students are preparing through some coaching material. So according to you, what would be great, following Arun Sharma books or going through some coaching material? Because in the coaching material they structure the material basically on the previous questions, and they know that what are important and what not. And in
Yeah.
Arun Sharma book, what I notice is that there are bulk of questions, and it is not possible to attempt
To
and to
do.
solve all the questions.
See, I haven't solved Arun Sharma. Yes, and I have heard about the book, but I didn't felt the need after the coaching material to really solve them. Right. In Arun Sharma book, if as you said, there are a lot of questions. You have to figure out what to do and when to do on your own. Right. But in coaching material, there is little advantage, as you said. In books like Arun Sharma, if there is a question, if there is a basic question, then the 20 next question will be uh, formed on the same concept. So it becomes very irritating and redundant to solve all of those questions, right?
Right.
So coaching material helps that in that way. But
Okay.
I think the chapters would be still be segregated in the Arun Sharma as well. And if you know the topics what to come in next, then they're more or less similar, at least in the quant section.
Okay. Now I have one more question on Arun Sharma, but as you said that you have not
Yeah,
go
I
through from
haven't
that
read
book.
that.
Yeah, so okay, leave that question, no issues. So what do you suggest, that going through one coaching study material would be fine, or it would be great if we follow two, three coaching study material or more than one?
See, study material is more or less the same in every coaching institute. They are all based on the same topics and they have all have similar questions. So it doesn't make sense to follow two, three coaching study material. What you can do is you can solve the study material you have from your own coaching center and also join the test series of another coaching center. That's what I did, right? Because the test series is like a, the Bible. What you used, I would use that for the mock. Really,
Okay.
the mocks are everything. When I was not studying in the 2 months gap that I mentioned, I was still giving the mocks just for the sake of giving it. And from the course of work, you really know that when you really need to bounce back. Right? That came for me in August, where I really know my percentile dropped around 20 points from 95 to 74. So I knew that that was a slap in the face, right? That the Bible thing, the mocks did do those for the cat experience.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
So
I don't think you really need to do two or three coaching study materials. But yeah, if you have a friend who is preparing for cat, then you can obviously join different coaching institutes so that you can have the study materials for both of them.
okay. So according to you, what you are recommending is just follow your coaching study material and go through from the test series of different coaching, so that you get an exact idea that what you are studying and what where you are standing, right? Okay,
Yes.
that's great. So my another question is that, as in the everyone we notice that in the CAT exam, if you attempt around 50% or 55% of the questions correctly,
Yeah.
then you get around 99 percentile, right?
Yeah. True.
Okay, so in this part, selection of questions is really important,
Very
right?
crucial.
And
Very
short tricks also help you. So my question is that what do you think that short tricks and selection of right questions in the exam would be helpful for the student, and how much it will affect the percentile and performance of the student?
See, I don't think the short tricks plays that much part, but I do think the selection plays the most important part, especially in the DILR section and the quant section. For example, I did only 17 questions out of 26 in the quant section, and but I knew that I was doing them correctly, at least most of them. Right? If you know that the question that you attempted is correct, that's a plus three. But if you just go randomly across the question, then there comes a difficult question, and you start wasting your time on it, then your percentile will reduce dramatically. That also happens in DLR very much. In DLR, if you choose a wrong set, then you're gone in that section. So the selection plays the most important part, but I don't think the short tricks plays that much because my strategy was to jam up the jam up on the basics first, right? If you know the basics, if you know how the short tricks will come out to be, you start losing steps, right? You start doing in lesser steps, not using the short tricks directly, but you know how the questions will proceed ahead, and you start doing calculations in your mind. You start doing questions in like 2 lines or 3 lines only. That helps. Short tricks, I didn't uh, memorize the formulas of the short tricks as much as I should have. It depends. It depends by individual, right? For me, I went through all the paper in the quant section because I knew they would be hard questions. But in the DILR section, yeah, I went through all of them as well. But in yeah, I went through all of them. Not in the quant, I did not. Yeah, in the quant, I did not go through all of them. In the start, I was doing questions as I feel confidently. I was using the ABC strategy, as you might have heard by now. The ABC strategy is put the questions in A that you see and you do it. You do it, then you move ahead. If you don't feel like that you the question will take time or is not um, doable, then you put it in B and move ahead. I was doing that in quant. But if suppose if you're targeting around 95 percentile or 90 percentile in a particular section, you should read all the questions first. You should select around 10 to 15 questions and do only them. If the paper 10 if the paper is of 2 hours, and 15 if the paper is of 3 hours. Right. It's not the pressure. It's about experience, right? You know where you stand by the time you give the test. So you know that if you attempt more questions than that particular, uh, if I try to attempt questions just for the sake of attempting, then it will get me a negative marking. It will reduce my marks. Yes, you will obviously do the question if you feel confident in it. If even if your limit crosses, you should obviously do that. You will not solve 10 questions if you know 12 questions, right? But you know, for people who are attempting around 10 questions, right, consistently in their mocks, then they know where they stand. They cannot, what's the word for it? I just, they cannot afford to lose out on those 10 questions, right, by attempting harder questions. Yeah, obviously. Also in verbal as well, only DLR and con in verbal as well. DLR, the selection is like the mantra thing. If a set is gone, if you are stuck in a set, then just move on. If you start wasting your time just because you have wasted your time, or just because you have spent around 5 to 6 minutes and still can't figure out what the set is about, then just move on. If you start wasting your time, then you are done in the set.
So I think that in DILR section decision making is very important. That you have to quickly make decisions whether to go on with the question or not.
Yes,
That is
exactly.
I
You read the question for a minute, you read
yeah.
the set for a minute, you see if you want to do it or not, right?
Yeah.
But in DLR, I read all the questions first, all the sets first, to know in
Okay.
which order to attempt them. If
Yeah.
there's an easy set, then I would prefer to attempt that firstly, right?
Okay.
In quant, every question is for itself, but in DLR, there is a bunch of questions that can come in handy in the last 5 to 10 minutes I have.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Great.
Okay, so as you mentioned earlier that mocks are really helpful. So I just want to ask that how many mocks did you give, and how many mocks are ideal student who is preparing for CAT and who is targeting around 99% and have to attempt for making a good base for the exam.
It's uh, at this stage in your preparation. Suppose if you are giving for CAT 21, currently you will start giving mocks around March, right? So March, May, and June. You will give around a 2 or 3 mocks per month, and by June or by July, you start giving more mocks. So by the time your basics would have done, so ideally 2 mocks per week is more than enough in your preparation. 2 mocks per week. I In July, August, it will be 1 mock a week, I guess. But after that, 2 mocks per week is enough. People do a 1 mock a day and 2 mocks a day, but I think then you really don't have time to analyze the mocks and see what you are doing wrong, right?
Right.
You need if you give a mock, then you need to understand what you did wrong
Yeah.
and on what are the factors that you need to improve on. If you don't see that, if you don't analyze the mocks, then it's a waste.
So
Okay.
basically,
Yeah.
Just
what
I
you are
just have
suggesting is
one.
that analyzing part of the mocks is really important, because if you didn't analyze what your mistakes are and you repeat that mistake again and again, then there is no sense in giving mocks,
yeah,
right?
there's no sense. You're just giving mocks for the sake of giving it, right?
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
You should analyze the mocks. I did the analysis part in September, I guess, of all the mocks of all the previous mocks. Was I was lazy, but but I did it because I felt I could not uh, I could not improve if I didn't do that thing, right?
Right. Right.
But if you keep doing it consistently, it obviously helps.
Hmm.
So tell us something more about how you analyze these mocks, how you analyze your scores, and what do you do if you know that I am weak in this section? So what is your next step after that?
First of all, the first analyzing part that comes during mock come about mocks is when you are giving the mocks, right?
Hmm.
Suppose you are in the quant section and
Yeah.
there is a question of probability or profit and loss, right? You
Yeah.
have read your profit and loss in suppose 2 months ago, and you are
Mhm.
now frightful of that question, not after reading the question, but because just seeing that it is from profit and loss. You have read the topic, but it is an indication that you are forgetting the topic.
Mhm.
If you're a little bit frightened about that topic, right?
Yeah.
So after giving the mock, what you should ideally do and what I really did
Yeah.
is I pick up that topic again and make that thing clear to me again.
Okay.
Solve all the questions, right? After the mock, you should see in what particular topic you have done the topics wrong, you have
Yeah.
done the questions wrong, you have taken more than enough time,
Mhm.
and what are the questions that you could have done but you didn't,
Okay.
right? Because suppose let's take the first one. What are the topics in which you have taken the questions wrong? You have given other answers wrong, right? So in
Mhm.
those topics, if there's a one or two question, then you can just ignore it. But if it is going consistently in all the mocks, then
Yeah.
you should read that particular topic or that subtopic in the topic
Mhm.
more clearly, right? For example, if in time speed distance the circular path related questions are wrong, then you should read the circular path again,
Okay.
right? And if in the topics which you should have done but you didn't, you need to know what your fears were.
Yeah.
Right. So most of the students face problem in the verbal ability section, if I am not wrong. I have
Yeah,
many of my couple of my friends who are really
I'm one
good.
of them.
Okay. So who did really great in the quant section, who perform really great in the logical reasoning section, but the the major thing about CAT is and about the colleges like IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, the big IIMs, the top B schools will take four cutoff if I'm not wrong, the particular cutoff for each section and then
The
a total,
sections and the overall section,
yeah,
overall
the four
cutoff.
four cutoffs. So basically, if they are facing problem and if they lacks in a single part, like most of the student face problem in the verbal ability section. So can you please suggest a strategy that how can a person matlab, develop a verbal ability
Yeah,
section?
verbal ability is, in CAT especially, is all about comprehension. Now, how you comprehend is how you improve your comprehension is by reading more things. That's just it, right? You read diverse topics, you read complicated topics, you make a short a summary of the topics that you've read to understand how much you have just taken in, right? You start doing that consistently and your comprehension will improve. Once your comprehension improves, then by the marks you know how you are improving. If there's a particular part type of question like inference type questions, right? Questions, then you need to know how to do those questions, how to do those particular questions, and you work on that. Vocabulary and grammar doesn't play that much role in the cat as the comprehension does. Main thing to go for would be in this stage in your preparation would be reading. Read aggressively.
So,
Read as much as you can.
so I just had one question that in the CAT exam, are the paragraphs that are given, are they in very complex English? Do they use very heavy vocabulary, or they're simple English but they're lengthy? What is the like pattern?
There are both. There are both
Oh,
type of passages. Right?
all right.
There will be a passage which is very simple to read but very
Mm,
complicated questions.
yeah.
There will be passages which is very complicated to read but very simple questions.
Yeah.
Right?
So you have a mix of both the questions.
Have a mix of both.
So in that also you have to select which questions to
You
attempt.
need to
Is
understand that you cannot just skip the passage because you
mm,
feel like it.
yeah.
Right? You should read the questions. You should know that what types of questions are asking in that particular.
Okay.
If there are easy questions, then if you can handle the passage, even if it is
Yeah.
complicated, then you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
If the questions are easy, if the questions are easy to read, the options are far away. See,
Mm-hmm.
questions are easy only on the basis of the options closeness,
Yeah.
like how close the options are.
So,
It's either.
yeah. So
So,
what, just a second. Yes, sir. So what I used to do in school was that I used to read all the question first and then read the paragraph.
No,
So
no, no,
is that
that's wrong.
kind of strategy applicable in CAT?
See,
Is that?
it is applicable, I will not lie, but it
Yeah.
is not preferable
Mm,
because
yeah.
also it is about with which mindset you read the question first,
Mm,
right? If you read first so that you can find the answers to them, then it becomes a little jotted down because then you keep searching for that particular line in the whole passage, and when it comes, you'll be like, haha, right? But
yeah.
the question would be more complicated than that because
Definitely.
it's cat. So the answer will not be in that particular passage or in that particular line, in that particular paragraph.
Yeah.
Answer will be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you, if you do the question after question reading first before the passage, then that becomes the most common mistake in that method.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Right? You can obviously do one passage and then search the questions for that particular paragraph.
Yeah.
One paragraph, then the questions, because for the direct questions, for factual questions, it's helpful in that. For example, there is an example in the passage, and the question talks about how the uh, what does the example signify. And if you read the particular paragraph, you will know that you do not need to read the whole passage for that particular answer. But they will obviously be the question like summary type question or inference type questions that will
Mm-hmm.
only come after you read the whole passage.
Totally. Yeah, I get it. All right. So
The
yeah,
answer to skipping passage is lies in the first paragraph or first 5 or 6 lines. You
mm-hmm.
read first 5 or 6 lines, and if you can picturize what will come ahead in the passage, then you do the passage because you know how to read the passage. If you do not know the goal of reading it, then it becomes very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
You start memorizing the wrong things in the passage.
okay, so just last question of this podcast, if I'm not wrong. Uh, the most important thing is uh, a day before the exam, right? Because you have a lot of pressure when you're giving the competitive exams like this, CAT, IIT. So basically, I just want to ask that how you spent your last day. Have you studied? Have you revised the formulas of quant? Have you did some revision, or you just take rest and chill?
See, the whole week before the exam was very relaxed for me. Actually, the whole month. In the last month, I was giving mocks in the coaching center mocks. I was scoring very less percentile, like 50s around. But when I give the past year mock past year exam, when I was scoring very high percentile, like 99 point plus something, right? And after seeing the fluctuation, I realized that if at this stage to study further, I have studied everything. So to study further will only be to pressurize myself. So in the last week before the CAT exam, I stopped everything and watched the movies continuously, right? And but on the last a few around 8 p.m. on before the CAT exam, around the last day on the 8 p.m., it got pressurized that I will forget the formulas and I will forget everything. So I had a notebook for all the basic formulas. So I revised that as a glance, right? I took that as well because it was a lot of pressure and I couldn't handle it.
Great.
Yeah, but I will suggest just to relax for a bit before the CAT exam. You have read everything, you have studied everything that you can. In the last few moments, that moment is only for to make you forget things, not to make you memorize more. Helps keeping a relaxed mind because anyway, whatever you do on the CAT day will just happen. You cannot do anything about it.
Yeah.
Right, in at least in the last day, if you keep taking the pressure, it's like a normal day, but with another mock. You need to think like that. Obviously, it's not like that in the reality, but you need to think like that. You need to think like if even if it goes wrong,
Mm-hmm.
then it will clearly not help it if I take the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
If it's meant to go wrong,
Right.
right? Yeah, just take it like another day. जो होगा देखा जाएगा टाइप एटीट्यूड. अब तो हो गया, अब जितना कर सकते थे कर लिया. अब सेंटर के बाहर खड़े कुछ वैसे भी नहीं पढ़ना होगा, ना कुछ रिवाइज होगा. अब क्या, अब अंदर चलो, एग्जाम दो और बस स्टेप एट अ टाइम.
So, so
Very well
basically,
strategy.
what Agam want to suggest is that when you start giving your exam, तो बोल दो okay, wow, कितना easy है, सब कुछ आता है.
Like A B B B B B C C C C C. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, the worst thing was that you even if you could, the answers will be shuffled as well. The options will be shuffled as well.
Mm.
See, the four questions that you talk about is a straight C answer. There may not, that may not be the case for another person. The questions are shuffled, their options are shuffled, so you cannot really cheat in that exam.
Definitely.
Even if the invigilator go out, everyone is so stressing out on their own exam, you will not be able to ask another person anything. Yeah, very competitive. Like मुझे करना है और मेरे पास still you even you don't have time for asking. You don't have time if your friend not then you take up the pen. Right? You don't have time for that because that crucial 10 seconds is very important on that particular day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even there was a technical issue on the CAT day with me and a few of the participants on that day. My verbal section started with a 30-minute timer instead of a 40-minute timer. And because of that panic, I started I uh, started doing it fast. I increased my pace of doing the verbal section. And
Okay.
after the CAT exam, after stopping us for around 3 hours, they gave us the remaining time, that 10 minutes after 3 hours of the CAT exam. हमने तो अब तुम्हारा बचा हुआ टाइम दे दिया, ठीक है. Now the verbal section doesn't really work like that, right? Because you have to read the whole passage and you have to solve the answers. Hello,
Hello.
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, now it's
You will know.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Now in those 3 hours, even if we did wanted to cheat, we couldn't. Nobody of us remembered anything. And if we remembered the question, we remembered कि इसका C आंसर था. But वो C हमारे में हो ना हो हमें पता नहीं.
right.
Right.
So it's very difficult to cheat. Actually, it's yeah, very difficult. If a person is of with a mindset of cheating, yeah, obviously he can cheat.
Mhm.
That's the will of him to do cheating.
All
Yeah,
right. I think that's all for this podcast. It was great talking to you, Ankit. We really got to know a lot about CAT exams and all of the strategies. And we hope that you get into a good B school. We congratulate on you for to you on that. And after that, we'll also be having one session on GDPI also.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's good to be here. And it was nice conversation.